Bruce Lee never challenged anyone to prove that he was the best. This was the statement that was made on one of my posts on YouTube. If Bruce Lee was so good, why didn't he challenge some of the masters that existed around the time that he was living? And the individual or individuals that made those assertions was actually comparing him to some of those masters and even modern day masters of martial arts, saying that Bruce Lee was not all that people said that he were supposed to be. In other words, they're saying that Bruce Lee was overrated. Let me ask you this question. What real master challenges anyone? Sounds a bit egotistical to me and narcissistic by nature to walk around challenging people. For what? What would be the reason? Would someone answer that question? Why you want to challenge anyone to try to prove that you are the best? I've studied Bruce Lee all of my life in the martial arts. And I'm heading on 50 years in the martial arts. I've studied Bruce Lee ever since I began. And I know that Bruce Lee had sort of an arrogance about him. But that arrogance is not the typical arrogance. It is the arrogance that goes along with you being confident in your skill set. That's the arrogance that I'm referring to. It's put up or shut up. There have been many documented incidents where Bruce Lee has actually had fights and put people in their place. He's accepted challenges coming up, and he put those individuals in their place. He's even had people challenge him on the movie sets, and he put those individuals in their place. But how does it look for this man who made the statement, martial arts to me is simply expressing myself? That's what he said. He didn't say martial arts to me is going out trying to see whose butt I can kick. Bruce Lee's never said that. So that shows the humility that he still had at the same time. He didn't walk around going for bad. But because he was very sincere, very devoted, dedicated to his training, more so than many people, even during that time, that were average martial arts personalities. And even today, not many people trained like Bruce Lee. He lived martial arts. And as some say, he was the real deal. So in being the real deal, what does he have to prove to anyone? He actually took it like an artist, placing their art on a canvas. He used the movie screen as his canvas. He's pointed this out many times. He expressed his martial arts system in his movies. But you have those people, those critics that say, he's just a movie star. He's just an actor. I tend to differ. Because what actor do you know that's created books and manuscripts on martial arts? What actor do you know that possessed over 2,000 books and pieces of literature on various systems of martial arts in existence and past? What actor do you know that is that dedicated to studying all of these arts, trying to find the best thing that fit him? What actor do you know that does that? And what actor do you know that has Jeet Kune Do schools all over the world? They're not teaching acting. They're teaching the art that their master left behind. And what actor do you know that is the most celebrated of martial artists in the 20th and 21st century that we have ever known of? What actor do you know that had a statue erected in their honor after their death? After so many years in China of fighting over this statue, he finally has a statue devoted to his accomplishments, not only in martial arts, but as a humanitarian, because he was. if it were not for Bruce Lee, that division that was between the Asia and the US at the time, or America at the time, would still no doubt exist. But Bruce Lee brought down that iron curtain, so to speak. And he made it possible for all Asians to migrate into the United States society. Did you not know that? And if I'm not making it any plainer, there was tension again between Asia and the United States, okay? Bruce Lee, against the will and the wishes of many of the elders in China, he opened up a way for Americaners, or people in America, to study the ancient martial arts from Asia. His elders were against it, vehemently against it, but he did it anyway. He taught whites and blacks and whatever. It didn't matter to him. He felt like everyone should have the opportunity to learn this thing, this gift called martial arts, the art of pugilism, that he devoted his life to and ultimately took his life through the perfection of that. Because if you look at his body during the time, very few martial artists that you would have looked at during that same period of time were built like Bruce Lee. Yes, he was about 130 something, 140 something pounds. This is true. And it's not normal for a Chinese to look that way, or an Asian period to have a body, a musculature like Lee did. And we also know that he had friends who even constructed equipment specifically to help him build certain aspects of his fighting ability and his skill sets, for strength, for flexibility, for power, for muscle definition, small muscles, large muscles. And this is indicative when you watch his classic Enter the Dragon. This was the coup de grace of all of his movies. This was the coup de grace of all of his training. When you look at his body, his physique in Enter the Dragon, it is pure mastery, pure art. It was even said by the former bodybuilder Joe Weider that all you had to do was stand Bruce Lee in an anatomy class, and you could see virtually every human muscle. He admired Bruce Lee's dedication to the martial arts and his physical perfection. So much so he made that statement. So Bruce Lee accomplished a lot, but some still want to just resign him to just being an actor. No actor that I know has ever received all of the accolades, all of the rewards of being a great martial artist when they were just an actor. That's like taking Keanu Reeves in the movie series The Matrix. He learned just enough martial arts to perform in those scenes, but you can still tell if you look hard enough that he was taught that just for the movie. But Bruce Lee devoted his life to martial arts, and he was art in motion. And there are people say, well, that's just choreography, that's not martial arts. He could have never gotten that off. But it's funny how all of us benefited from Bruce Lee. I speak to my shame, I'm one of them who benefited from Bruce Lee. He started all of us going to the movie theaters, watching all of the chop socky movies, if you will, all of the kung fu movies, the cinemas of vengeance and things of this sort, the Shaw Brothers, the Run Run Shaw movies. He started this craze. It wasn't just Five Fingers of Death, it was Bruce Lee. He jumped off the screen at all of us, and he inspired all of us to perfection. And those of us who were not involved in the martial arts at the time, he made us to want to go and sign up for a kung fu, a karate, a judo, jiu-jitsu school somewhere. He made us all want to do that, even though some people may have abandoned him and his philosophy later on, but they still participated in whatever discipline of martial arts that they started out in. But he was the impetus. He was the one that started it. He was the catalyst. Bruce Lee was. He was the one that made everyone hunger and thirst for perfection in the martial arts. Now, of course, it has evolved over the years, over the past several decades, but it's still yearning in people's soul to want to perform martial arts, no matter what level it is. And I still remain this day as a dedicated martial arts master and human being. I love it. I was inspired by Bruce Lee. He was my first inspiration. And I'm not just saying this simply from the standpoint of a fan or someone who idolized him. I idolized him as a child. I'm a man now. I respect him, not idolize him anymore. And I know the difference. Bruce Lee was responsible in the 20th and the 21st century for the martial arts accomplishments of many of us, past and present. Whether we give him credit for it or not, it doesn't change what the world's consensus is of Bruce Lee. He is truly the greatest master that has ever lived during our time. Now, I need to backtrack a second before I conclude this video. For those who think that I only believe that Bruce Lee is the greatest martial arts master, even though I just said it, I'm saying that he surfaced. There were a lot of masters, and I've said this in videos in time past as well. There were a lot of great masters that existed around the time that Bruce Lee was living as well. They chose, for whatever their reasons were, to not become public, to not want to exploit their arts. That was their personal decisions. And to this very day, as I'm speaking to you, there's still great martial artists that are just as good as Bruce Lee, if not better. And they choose not to expose themselves because their ideology and their way of thinking is what it is. They still want to hold the traditions that their ancestors had and just keep it in the family, so to speak. But once Bruce Lee came on the scene, he defied that which was common at the time, and he decided to do his own thing, which he had a right to do. And he did indeed do. And that was to expose the ancient secrets, which were really no secrets at all. There's something that everyone should study and or pursue if you have a desire to. Why should that be withheld from anyone? Because it's a good thing. Martial arts is good. It is not something that you can retire from once you participate in it as far as a life's journey. I've heard martial arts masters say in time past that I'm going to retire. I'm about to stop teaching and so forth. They still have the capacity to teach, but they just won't. I'm going to pass this mantle on to someone else. In my view, you can never retire from martial arts because it is a life's journey. It is a life's journey of being educated daily, forever. The only time that we stop learning is when we have taken our last breath. Fortunately, I'm still here to talk about it. And I'm still here to say that I love the martial arts and the martial arts is my life. And if it were not for Bruce Lee, I would not perhaps ever been in the martial arts or even been interested in the martial arts. That's just the way I come. But to conclude this again, I just want to say that I'm appreciative of all that Bruce Lee has done for all of us. And I'm not going to ever buy into the fact that he was just an actor. Yes, he was an actor. Bruce Lee started acting at a very young age in China. As a matter of fact, Bruce Lee had done about 20 films before he ever even came to the United States. So he was thoroughly engrossed in being an actor because his father was an actor. So let me share something with you in terms of some things that Bruce Lee has done for other individuals. I'm going to start with Bob Wall. Bob Wall played O'Hara in Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee was instrumental in helping Bob Wall's career in the movies and also as a teacher, by Bob Wall playing a major role in Enter the Dragon as Han's henchman. Chuck Norris. Bruce Lee was instrumental in boosting Chuck Norris's movie career by way of Return of the Dragon, whether Chuck wants to admit it or not. Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly has said in numerous interviews that Bruce Lee was the real thing. And a lot of people don't know just how good Bruce Lee was. He said, I won't even mention some of the people that Bruce Lee has fought and put in their place. He said, but he's just that guy, or was just that guy. So Bruce Lee enhanced Jim Kelly's movie career, starting with Enter the Dragon, because right after Enter the Dragon, Jim Kelly came with Black Belt Jones, Black Samurai, Three the Hard Way, and so on and so forth. If it were not for him being in Bruce Lee's movie, he probably would have never been in the movies on the level that he was. And I respect him highly. May he rest in peace, Jim Kelly. Jackie Chan. Bruce Lee enhanced his career. He was already a stuntman in China, done a lot of movies, Hyena, and so forth. Drunken Master, he did that, and also a slew of other movies. But Jackie Chan's career was also enlightened and enhanced by Bruce Lee, hiring him to play in Enter the Dragon and also in Chinese Connection. Joe Louis, the kickboxer. Joe has said himself in time past that he learned a lot of his fighting strategies from Bruce Lee and studying with Bruce Lee and under Bruce Lee. Bolo Young. That's the guy that we call Bolo in Enter the Dragon. His real name is Zhang Zi. He, in his career, was enhanced by Bruce Lee as well through Enter the Dragon, playing another one of Hans, that character at that time, playing one of his henchmen, and that was Bolo. We all know who Bolo was in Enter the Dragon. And his career, again, was elevated by Bruce Lee, having him in that particular role in that film, Enter the Dragon. And after that, he played in Chinese Connection, not Chinese Connection, but Chinese Hercules, and many other films thereafter. Ip Man, Bruce Lee's original teacher of Wing Chun. Bruce Lee made his instructor, Ip Man, famous because Bruce Lee and his own Wing Chun throughout his movies, and the fact that the lineage as far as Bruce Lee was concerned and his training came from Ip Man. And so by Bruce Lee having that close-knit relationship and becoming world-known or world-renowned, he made in turn Ip Man, his teacher, famous. Ip Man probably would have never been a household word had it not been for Bruce Lee. And especially the fact that Bruce Lee even modified Wing Chun, Ip Man still remained popular. And to piggyback on that one, Donnie Yen, Bruce Lee enhanced his movie career through the series of Ip Man movies that Donnie Yen over the past several years has done on Bruce Lee's instructor, Ip Man. So Bruce Lee has made Donnie Yen even more of a household word as well through the Ip Man series. And as I forestated, Bruce Lee has a statue that was erected to him in his honor in China. And what else can you say? What master? Now, I'm not beating up on anybody, but what master? I'm just curious to know. I said I'm not beating up on anybody, but what master do you know of the 20th and the 21st century that is world renowned, that has a statue that was erected to them that the world knows about? I'm not talking about a community. I'm not talking about a neighborhood. I'm talking about the world. Only Bruce Lee. So if this doesn't say anything about him not being simply an actor, as Victor Moore wanted to call him, he's just an actor, I don't know what else to say. He was not just an actor. He has schools all over the world. They're not teaching acting, as I said before. He has students and followers all over the world. If you were to Google his name, you would go pages upon pages and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages with his name. That's how popular he is. More so than any other martial artist. He would exhaust your search on the web. More memorabilia of Bruce Lee has been sold than any other martial artist. Bruce Lee. I don't care how popular the other common martial artists are, the other martial arts systems are. Bruce Lee has sold more memorabilia just on his name. Goju-Ryu, Shotokan, Aikido, jiu-jitsu of various schools. It doesn't matter. He's at the top of the list on memorabilia being sold. Now, if you find out something different, you can drop a line and say, I checked this out, I researched this, they've sold more than Bruce Lee. Okay. I'll recant once I see that and once I've done the research myself. But as it stands, Bruce Lee, hands down. Okay, I'm not going to worry you anymore. This is Brother Teacher. If you have any comments on this section or this particular video, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you again in the next video.